A convict holds a gun to an officer's head. It's the officer's gun. Two doctors beg him to drop his weapon, but the convict instead points the gun at himself and shoots himself in the head. Who is this man, and why did he do that? This video will answer that question and any other questions you have. But first, I'd like you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Welcome back to Lion Recaps. Today, I'll explain episodes 15 and 16 of the series The Good Doctor, released in 2017. Sean is on a bus. He doesn't feel comfortable, but a text from Leah makes him feel better. She's thinking about him and the pine trees. Sean arrives at work and learns about a fundraiser gala in the hospital lobby. Sean and the other residents talk about the gala, but Sean doesn't like parties. Dr. Melendez tells them that all residents are expected to attend the fundraiser and make donations. A new resident joins Melendez's group, Alex Park. He's the last of Dr. Coyle's residents and was formerly a police officer. Sean asks how old Dr. Park is and learns that he's older than Dr. Melendez. Dr. Melendez apologizes for Sean's inappropriate questions and explains that Sean is a gifted doctor with autism. Dr. Park takes no offense, and Morgan thinks Dr. Park is modest when he remarks that he's a late bloomer. Later, Sean and Morgan are assisting Dr. Lim with a patient whose heart is outside their ribcage. The patient is Spirit. She makes a video of herself and the residents to keep her friends updated on her surgery. Sean learns that Spirit likes crowds and is curious to know how she made friends, since she mentioned that she hasn't really been in crowds and cannot do fun things with anyone because of her condition. Spirit says she likes to talk, but she's restricted to talking online. Sean and Morgan also learn that she's never hugged anyone because it's risky. Claire, Dr. Park, and Dr. Kalu's patient is a young boy who needs a new liver after rejecting the first one. His name is Eric. The residents believe that it will be difficult to find him a match because of his blood type, but Dr. Melendez insists that they search as it's the only way to keep him alive. Allegra Aoki asked Aaron Glassman to ask Aidan Coulter to be the keynote speaker at the gala, as the intended keynote speaker had cancelled. Dr. Park and Dr. Kalu are preparing Eric for his procedure. Dr. Park plays Eric a song from his favorite sports star, but Dr. Kalu is curious to know how he knew that, so he asks and learns that Dr. Park went through Eric's personal belongings. Morgan and Sean run tests on Spirit. Morgan advises them to buy an expensive tux for the gala. They realize that Spirit has an enlarged heart, which prevents them from performing surgery. Claire searched beyond the official transplant list and found an independent donor online. The bad news is that the donor is an imprisoned Russian hitman named Boris, charged with 7 murders. The hospice board debates the risks of letting Boris out of prison. Claire, Alex, and Kalu get approval to use the convict's liver. Dr. Lim informs Spirit that she'll have to wait until she's 18 to do the surgery because of her heart, but Spirit wants the surgery done now. She's tired of being lonely. Dr. Park and his team prepare for Boris's arrival, but Dr. Park is skeptical about Boris's intentions, as he suspects Boris is only looking for a way out of prison. Dr. Kalu and Claire talk about going public with their relationship. Meanwhile, Eric doesn't want a murderer's liver. Dr. Melendez orders more restraints, as he believes Eric will be uncooperative during the liver transplant. In Dr. Lim's office, Morgan proposes trying an experimental procedure on Spirit, despite Sean being against it. Sean feels the procedure is risky and irreversible if it doesn't go as planned, but Morgan suggests he's biased. Sean confronts Morgan about being competitive and wonders if she's trying to undermine his confidence or make Dr. Lim think he's biased. She insists that she's only trying to help both Sean and Spirit. Aoki meets with and convinces Aidan, who doesn't like to give speeches, to be the gala keynote speaker. She says he should tell a story about his success and loyalty to the city of San Jose instead. She secures Aidan as the gala keynote speaker and believes there's a spark between them. She confides in Dr. Andrews, who advises her not to explore it, as it would be bad for her if Aidan thinks she's using sex to receive more donations for the hospital, especially since he is one of the hospital's biggest donors. Boris is let out of prison and restrained in the hospital. Dr. Park and his team question his intentions, but Dr. Park is not convinced. Eric struggles with the doctors as he's adamant about Boris's liver. Morgan pressures Sean to buy a tuxedo for the gala. He goes to Dr. Andrews for advice. He mentions how stylish Dr. Andrews looks and wonders if his looks make him a better surgeon and attract friends. But Dr. Andrews advises Sean to rent a suit instead. He asks if Sean had asked Dr. Glassman about it, but Sean says he makes his own decisions now. They begin the surgery on the convict, but he has an allergic reaction to the anesthetic, so they can't operate. Boris insists that they do the surgery again, and Claire says they can't. This upsets the convict, who escapes during the walk back to the transport. He grabs an officer's gun and shoots himself in the head. Claire is traumatized. Dr. Andrews notifies Eric's parents that he has only a day left to live if they cannot find him a new liver. Dr. Park suggests that the doctors salvage Boris's organs and save multiple lives, as he's already dead. Spirit surgery is a success, but Sean learns that Morgan doesn't respect him during it. Later at the gala, Aiden approaches Aoki, and they discuss going golfing, and he asks her to dance. Aoki seems really attracted to Aiden, and it would appear that the feelings are mutual. Claire talks Eric into accepting the convict's liver, and Eric is taken back for surgery, where he's given a new liver. Eric's surgery is a success, and he asks Dr. Melendez if he can send the convict's parents a thank you card. Sean shows up at the gala, where Morgan tells him to mingle. Instead, he leaves the party and returns to Spirit's room, where her friends talk to her. Claire and Dr. Kalu show up together at the gala. Dr. Kalu believes he and Claire take their relationship public by attending the gala as a couple. Dr. Kalu gets mad when Claire doesn't remember the song that played when they first kissed. She blamed her forgetfulness on having a long day and is still not over the trauma of watching a man shoot himself in front of her. But Dr. Kalu misunderstands her and concludes that she doesn't love him. He breaks up with her. Sean returns to the party and approaches a table of doctors. They introduce themselves, and Sean is about to leave when Dr. Andrews arrives. They talk about golf, and he begins to loosen up. The next day, Sean tells Claire and Dr. Park about his outing with his neighbor Kenny. Sean was made to pay for tickets for both Kenny and his girlfriend. This worries Claire. Just then, Dr. Melendez arrives with information about a new patient who has severe neck pain. Dr. Melendez and his team examine Hunter when Sean asks why his wife married him despite his confinement to a wheelchair. Hunter suddenly cannot feel his legs. In the hallway, a woman sings for the crowd gathered to watch her. We learn that this woman is Claire's mother, and Claire isn't excited to see her. Dr. Andrews examines their patient who has contracted an infection from an implant. Sean and Dr. Park want to know about Claire's estranged relationship with her mother, and she tells them her mother is a lot of things, but not great. Morgan talks to Dr. Kalu about a possible career opportunity, and he tells her he doesn't need her help and insists he fought to stay at the hospital. Dr. Melendez thinks Hunter will walk again after he examines his scan results. Dr. Andrews tells his patient that he's treated the infection from her transplant, but he still needs to monitor her. Sean and Hunter talk about his excitement over the possibility of walking again. Hunter believes that people waste time and energy proving that they belong. Dr. Andrews talks to a fertility specialist about his inability to have kids and the possibilities of what he can do. Morgan examines Dr. Andrews' patient's body. The patient is annoyed with the pushing and the prodding, but Morgan finds a blemish and pushes on it. It hurts, the patient tells her. Morgan leaves to call the attention of Dr. Andrews. Morgan lies that Dr. Kalu found the blemish, and Dr. Andrews informs her that he'll have to remove all the implants, but she doesn't want it. She would rather try a broad spectrum of antibiotics. Dr. Andrews tells her she could become septic, but she doesn't care. Dr. Melendez and the team discovered a cyst that's done growing and shouldn't cause any issues for the patient. Hunter will not walk, but Dr. Melendez advises him against surgery. He wants to know what his odds are. Later, Hunter lies in bed with his wife. He tells her that he wants to live a normal life. Dr. Melendez meets with Hunter and his wife, and the couple argues. She thinks he's gambling his life away, and she leaves. Claire's mother wants to talk. She admits that she's sick, but she's better now. She wants a second chance. Sean tests Hunter's fitness for surgery. Sean asks him if he's the same person he was before being stuck in a wheelchair. Sean tells him if he does walk again, he'll not forget the lessons he learned. Dr. Andrews informs his patient that the antibiotics are not working and she needs surgery, but she insists she doesn't want it. Her husband Barry tries to talk her into it. Dr. Melendez finds Hunter's wife in the lobby and assures her that her fears are valid. Later, the team talks about Hunter's odds and whether he should have surgery. Sean mentions his new friend and neighbor, Kenny. Dr. Park tells him that Kenny has a record as he looked into him. Jessica confronts Barry and asks him to assure his wife that he's faithful to her. Hunter's wife returns to his room and tells him she's scared he won't need her if he walks again. He reassures her, and Sean tells Hunter what he said was nice. Barry goes to see Emma to convince her she needs surgery. She thinks he cheated on her before because of how she looked, but he confesses he never cheated and hid a gambling addiction. Sean tells Claire how great she is. He asks her if she would date someone with a disability, and she says yes. Everyone is called to the OR for Hunter's surgery. Claire keeps thinking about her mother and what Sean said. Hunter changes his mind for a second, but his wife reassures him. Emma is under surgery, but she suffers a septic embolism. They lose her. Meanwhile, Dr. Melendez experiences complications in Hunter's brainstem. He begins to die. Barry says goodbye to Emma, and the team meets with Hunter, whose surgery was a success. That night, Dr. Andrews talks to his wife and tells her he wants to give her kids. He mentions the surgery he can have, so she tells him there are plenty of ways to have kids. Claire and her mother talk over coffee. Claire leaves in tears after her mother borrows some cash from her. Meanwhile, Sean comes home, and Kenny is in his apartment. Sean has begun to doubt Kenny's intentions because of his record. Kenny bought Chinese food and wants to play Mortal Kombat, and Sean hesitantly agrees to play. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to recap your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.